Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody had a nice weekend. Before we jump into our stream, I just want to direct your attention to the bottom of the screen. There's a risk disclaimer at the bottom. Trading futures is risky. It's not suitable for everyone. Nothing you see on stream should be misconstrued as financial advice. The stream runs about 10 to 15 seconds behind live. So whatever you're seeing me do on the stream has already happened in the past. So with that all out of the way, the NASDAQ is opening here. Pretty kind of boring overnight session. I thought there might be a little more volatility coming in based on more tensions out of the Middle East, though I think the market is hopeful that the United States will be pulling back out, but the market has been riding on that hope for probably the last 3 months. But overall, just a very slow session where we tried to get up closer to 30,000 again and found resistance again. Gave it all back, got through the overnight low this morning, and now just kind of trading in a very tight range. Pretty boring profile as well. We did a little bit more volume than normal towards the highs, but generally speaking, nothing very interesting happening in the overnight session. If we look at a higher time frame, which will take just a moment to load. Motive wave is waking up as well. The same area and the same level that we talked about last week a lot, which is 30,000 and like 50, 30,065-ish. It's the triple top from the beginning of July. It was the same place that the NASDAQ pulled back from almost exactly on this most recent last week's rally up. And we got close-ish to the same area again in the overnight, missed it by like maybe 60 points before pulling back again. So we have this very, very clear level that sellers are defending. I said, I think at the close on Friday that if buyers could hold this up going into the close on Friday, so this is Friday's session, that if they could hold it up going into the close and they didn't give a whole bunch back, that I thought there was a chance that this week they could attempt to go up and take out that 30,065 level. So I'm very much on watch for that. I think that this has the potential to be a very explosive breakout. And I think that if we get close to it and fail yet again, I do think that we're going to come back and clean up some of this breakout move and potentially test the highs from the last week of July. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. I'm not leaning bearish at all. Anything that I'm talking about in terms of selling is just simply if we fail up here and we start to get through like last week's I would say like last week's the bottom edge of value for last week. So like below 29,500. I think that starts to look at cleaning up some of this very fast breakout style move that we had last week. So still I think buyers have the edge. I also think this is just like such an obvious target that I think the market might have a tendency to sort of drift up towards it. But as always, I wait for the 30-minute opening range to get set before I take any trades. And we are speeding up pretty quickly here. That was new lows in the overnight, as well as a very quick imbalance level down here at the lows. So you see that right there. That's a 400 contract buyer that got filled there right as we were making new lows. They might not be super happy with what price is doing after they bought that, but that was some pretty quick aggression there into the first 5 minutes. So keeping an eye on everything. I'm not opposed to just shorting. You're getting a little bit of absorption happening here at the lows. That's probably a trade that I would take if it wasn't 5 minutes after the open. But I let everything settle in, let some of the big boys and girls figure out what price wants to do before I step in. So, but just noting that we opened up a little slow. I mean, the open is always going to be faster than other times, but that was not a particularly fast open. And then about 2 or 3 minutes in, sellers really picked up the pace there. So if you were following the stream on Friday, I had talked about that that I was increasing size or basically testing out an increase in my position size, something that I have not been very successful for. That is exactly what you want to see. Like that was why I said I might take that trade if it wasn't 8:30, but nice bounce there off of 7:30. And so on Friday, I traded 3 MNQ instead of my typical size of 1 MNQ. Also, just to be clear, any of the earlier streams where I was trading one, I was trading on a 25K account from Lucid Trading. And now the 3 contracts for MNQ, which is what I will trade today if I take a position, is on a 50K account. So I have a little more buffer. I'm not trading a $1,000 stop loss for um, with 3 MNQ, which I think would be very, very difficult. But I am, it's still tight. It's 3 MNQ is probably still real tight, but the math on it is something like, I think it's like 16 or 17 straight stop outs without a winner, which would be very, very, very rare for me. So, uh, and that means like not taking any winners along the way at all. So, I think the math checks out as long as I'm taking trades and managing risk properly. So um, I won't be doing one of the things I said also on Friday is that uh, just to sort of simplify things, because like increasing position size already comes with like its own set of uh, mental things and do you trade different? Is there more risk on? Do you get more nervous? Like all of those kinds of things. So to simplify things, which I have not done in the past, where I was like, I'll trade three and then I'll like take one off at 10 points and then one off at 20 points. And I just ended up trading differently, or I'd get nervous and I'd like put size on and then immediately take it back off. And so just to kind of like prevent me from doing that and like keep things simple, um, I'm just going to trade 3 MNQ the same way that I would trade one, which is just three on at one at the place that I want to get in, and then three off wherever I want to get out. So no partials, nothing like that. Something that I can add to my repertoire as like I go further into this. But for now, no more extra clicks on the depth of market. Buyers are determinedly holding this 749 area where that imbalance was. So they ripped it off of their higher and then came back and are now testing it. Like I said, too early for me to take a position, but just noting what we're doing here. Also, I'll show you guys in just a little bit. I'm working on a custom depth of market that would run side by side with Motive Wave. Um, Motive Wave doesn't actually allow customization of its own depth of market, even like you can customize colors and things like that, but um, there's nothing that you can do like programmatically, like their software development kit doesn't actually allow for changes to the depth of market. So you're kind of stuck with whatever they want. And I get a little frustrated by that. There's a really big buyer right here at 40, just got filled. Um, so I wanted some extra customization. Um, and so I'm experimenting with some of those things. And it's basically just like piggybacking off of the data that I'm already getting from through Motive Wave or through Rhythmic as my data provider. So I'll share that with you guys in just a bit. Um, there's a lot of big buying happening down in the down in this area. There's another really big buyer there at 735. So if you're trading the open, head on a swivel. There are some very, very, very large transactions happening down around 740 to 735, 750-ish. Also, this absorption zone that's showing up, I'm just going to tweak these settings. I think actually they're okay. This is an in development study. I'm still kind of observing how it's working, and so I'm actually just going to leave it alone. But yeah, there's a sell imbalance now at 40. There's a buy imbalance at 49. Um, this is kind of like just reinforcing when I'm like pre pre 9 a.m. Central, like pre 30-minute opening range. I'm not trading 500 contracts, so like I'm gonna let somebody else figure out if sellers really want to try to take this lower or if like buyers have enough size to try to support this here. Just getting a lot of traffic down here, so I'm just tweaking some of these levels too, so we only show the strongest ones. Buyers holding this up against quite a bit of heavy selling down here, so noted that sellers are throwing around some size, but not really getting anywhere for their efforts. As I was saying, so with this custom DOM, a couple of things that I'm looking at. One, I kind of redid how graphics show, so like MBO, so like showing market by order, um, shows up a little easier, and also playing around with how time and sales works, and so using some filtering so I can actually see when larger orders get filled. It's a quick flip from sell to buy, which is that little diamond marker. So doesn't necessarily mean that, that's as we talk about here, there's like not a buy signal necessarily, but you should note that sellers threw a whole bunch of size down here, didn't get anywhere, and now starting to try to push higher. So lots of absorption happening sub 750 for now. Does not mean that that will continue to stay that way, but buyers really going after it now. Pretty choppy so far. And really our opening range is 841 to the upside and 718 to the downside. So pretty narrow range for the NASDAQ so far, even though there's been quite a bit of size and violence down here towards 750. I want to lean into the upside if it's available today. I just think that 30,000 is just such a, like, they got it so close in the overnight. They got it just above it last week. It's a whole number. It's just such an obvious target. Maybe it's too obvious right now, but uh, with what's happened so far for the first 15 minutes, there's just been a lot of absorption happening down at the lows, which, is kind of the first step to getting enough fuel for the market to go higher. So if we can get, some of these larger sellers, the this imbalance here at 740, as well as there's a couple of like back-to-back negative 100 lot trades here as well that say negative 97 and 97 right here. Uh, see if they got anything lower. Nope, just kind of tapered off towards the bottom. So, and we have this big buy imbalance right here as well at 749. So a lot of fuel, a lot of larger participants interested in transacting down below 750. Let's see if we can curl back up towards the highs. Also, just like on a higher time frame, we're just generally consolidating up here. So I think the adage that I've heard and a lot of people go by is that, like, if price is still going in one direction and like you're still building out your volume profile, then price is probably not done going in that direction. So we're trading, like, chopping around in the middle here. But basically what that means, like, if you sort of like zoom out on what that means from like a technical perspective, is like, if price goes up and it just starts to sort of hang out there, same for down, right? But like price goes to a place, starts to go sideways, that's price acceptance, right? And there's two sides to that story. Like, you can have price acceptance and then push further, right? Tends to be like a move with the overall trend. Also, you can have it so that, like, if you come up to resistance, you may see the same type of behavior as like sellers or buyers are stepping in to sort of like defend that level, which will also create volume. But in the midst of a trend, if we like do some big move up and then immediately go sideways and start building out just a ton of volume, my inclination is always to sort of like follow along with that volume. So just something to keep in mind. It's a little bit like you can't really apply that quite as much when you're trading in the middle of value here, because this is already the point of control. So we assume there's going to be a lot of volume done there, but it's more that if we're breaking out or breaking down, doing volume shortly thereafter, is kind of a sign that price wants to continue in that same direction. About 10 minutes until the opening range gets set. Buyers doing good work to defend the lows here. They're just, it's a little bit of a traffic jam because the nightly range was like so small. So like, let me expand this just a little bit. So like, this is the previous day's high right here at 868. That's probably like the first place on deck for buyers, is there are some aggressive sellers that just stepped in there. It's a quick sell move down. They didn't really get anywhere, but Also, as always, with everything that's going on overseas in the Middle East right now, like there's always headline risk. So I don't think I should have to tell you guys this, but stop in place always. Uh, Even I, at a few times, probably more than a few times in my career, of like, oh, price is nowhere near my stop. So I either like cancel the stop or move it up or in the process of moving it, and then get a fun little news drop in the midst of doing that and get a quick reminder as to why the stop always stays in place. So, yeah, one of you mentioned just that like Trump hasn't like accepted any terms from Iran or like it's just it's all just like without even getting into any of the politics of it. I just like as a as an intraday trader, I'm just like, can we just resolve this? Like, can we just like be done with it? Because it's just this huge batch of uncertainty going on, and it just makes it really difficult to trade. And also knowing that the market tends to react quite violently to uh, news around that area, particularly when it's delivered by the president via tweets. It's just because the market is reacting to probably what is a very short snippet, and really like a snippet coming from just the president's perspective without necessarily like any context. And so it just takes one tweet to send this thing from going 50 miles an hour to going 200 miles an hour. So um, always, always, always. It doesn't really do any good to like, people be like, well, should I like watch True Social or should I watch the Twitter feed? You can if you want to, but it's hard to say like what tweet the market is going to react to, as well as by the time like you actually read it and it pops up on screen, you're too late. Like the algorithms will have already like started to send price in whatever direction it wants to. So coming back down to test this same area down here around 750, where buyers kind of defended on the first push lower. So there are some aggressive sellers out today. We've seen some of these sharper pullbacks. So just keeping that as a note. I'm going to scroll my depth of market down. I'm looking just at this sell imbalance here at 740. I want to see if price comes back to test it and potentially hold it as we get closer to setting the opening range. I am biased higher. I think if this absorption keeps up and we don't get any random tweets, then I think we could potentially go up and at least challenge the edge of value and the previous day's high. Would love to go higher, but so far kind of choppy and really not a very big range on the NASDAQ. So kind of violence in a tight range right now, which is not what I would call ideal trading conditions. My goal is to see how many different beverages I can have on stream at one time. I have my breakfast smoothie, I have seltzer, and I have regular water. So max of 3 right now, same as my contracts. Testing this absorption level here. It's kind of an area more than it is an exact price. The lower part of it is right at 750, so it's just reinforcing the same idea that it's always nice when I'm like sort of like looking at it live and saying, I think that there's a bunch of absorption happening down here. And then the study that we've built to show absorption is like, hey, I see absorption too. I'm like, yeah, you do. I'm gonna take a. This is really really choppy. I wanted to take a look at the broader market and see what is going on. Well, so I use my retirement portfolio, which I'm not really like I don't trade my retirement portfolio, but like pretty diversified there. So I kind of like that's my like look at my portfolio slash like I've looked at my own portfolio so often that I can kind of gauge what the market is doing based on what it is that I own. And like right now, what I own is like a full like split, like 50-50 green red. So that's usually the first tell that like we're in the midst of some chop. uh, Looking at the S&P's top holdings, Intel is down 4%, Apple is down 2%, Nvidia down almost 1%. So pretty impressive that the Nasdaq is actually holding up here. Energy is leading the way. Shocker. That just means that um, that just means that the sorry, I'm reading messages and trying to talk at the same time, which is not working very well. The tensions in the Middle East are going to bring up the energy stuff. Microsoft is the only thing. Microsoft and Meta are the only two big green, not really super green, but like 1% and 2% um, that are up right now. So broader market looks choppy, as well as the the rest of it looks choppy as well. I have somebody asking, and I am more familiar with Motive Wave than I am NinjaTrader. Um, I so when I'm trading in NinjaTrader, to like in Motive Wave, I can right click and cross trade, right? So like I'm watching the 500 vol fixed chart, but when I'm taking trades, they execute on M and Q and not in Q. For NinjaTrader, I don't know that they have a native cross trading way of doing things. So what I typically do is put one chart on the left, like I do like a two chart side by side split, and the left one is a 500 vol chart, like I have here in Motive Wave with ScalperIQ on it on the default settings. And then to the right, I do a MNQ chart with no scalper. I can just like a bear chart and just use that for my execution. So if anybody else knows if there's a way in NinjaTrader to do cross trading natively, feel free to throw that into the chat. That would be helpful. But I don't know that they do, and I feel like I've looked for it before. So I know we have a few NinjaTrader users in here. So if you know one way or another, share with the masses. Buyer's getting another push here, just a couple minutes after setting the opening range. I do like that they're pushing higher. I don't like that the opening range is pretty narrow. Like 130 points is not getting me super excited to think that we have the oomph to get up to 30K, but we'll see. Oh, thanks. Yeah. If you look in chat right now, just saying, yeah, I have tried that before. That is an option. Um, basically having, I think you have to have NQ as your main and MNQ as an underlay. I can walk you through that once we're off live stream if you're watching and stuck. I've done that before and it's just like a tiny bit tricky. So, um, but yeah, if you're in the Discord, you can ping me and I'll walk you through that. Thanks for that tip. I totally forgot that you can do that in Ninja. I wish they had a cross trading option. I don't understand why they don't. There's so many people that trade micros and it's just a back end like route order routing thing for them. We're not talking like revolutionary. Like it's not even really I don't even think it's really copy trading. It's literally just like whatever chart you have up when you hit execute, they're just like putting the micro letter in front of, whatever you're trading so that your order routes there. But +1 for Motive Wave there. Also, Motive Wave technically is a paid platform. Like they have like monthly fees, or they have like you don't get a data feed with them. But there's a couple of different prop trading firms that actually have free Motive Wave licenses. We're not affiliated with any prop firms, at least not yet. But Lucid Trading, which is the account that I'm trading right now, they do offer a Motive Wave license for free with one of their accounts, which is really a pretty fantastic deal because you're paying one time for the Lucid account, and then you're not paying any residuals there, and you're getting a free platform subscription. So, not trying to bash NinjaTrader. NinjaTrader is a great platform in a lot of other ways, and if any of you follow along in the Discord, you know that I have my own qualms with Motive Wave from time to time. So there's just no such thing as a perfect platform. I think the perfect platform is sort of like the devil that you know. So like I'm not even on the newest version of Motive Wave. I'm still in Motive Wave 6. Um, so I'm like, it's funny. I'm like really pretty techie. Obviously, like being a developer, trading, love computers, love coding. And I am I am not somebody that updates anything very often ever because I always find that it breaks something. And obviously I have to from time to time, but you know, until Motive Wave 7 can like iron out their bugs and make it as smooth as an experience as 6 is, I will be in 6 until they pry it from my cold dead hands. Trying to challenge the high here for the buy crowd. I mean, these happen just a little bit early for me. There's a opening range high breakout there through the RTH high. But this is where I would have wanted to be transacting. I actually probably would have wanted it a little closer to 50, but this was happening about 5 minutes before the opening range is set. So buyer's gonna push, see what they got in the tank. We know they have plenty of sellers underwater down here at 740. We see enough of that absorption that happened, this big 500 lot order and a couple of 100 lot orders that got filled down here. So and whenever I say stuff like that, like we obviously don't know 100%, and we might not have enough fuel, but you just kind of have to take the evidence at what it is. We don't know. Technically speaking, the person that sold into this could have been, you know, taking profit, or who knows. You don't know what was behind it, but we do know that there was a big seller and a big buyer that happened at the lows, and then price couldn't go lower. So I like to lean into absorption as the idea there. Just because the opening range is so small, relatively speaking, on NQ, I want to see a push above the previous day's high, like pretty decently above it. Like if we could see up to like 920-ish, like this little like pop through this little low volume node and start trading and building some volume out here, then I might look for like a pullback back to the previous day's high, depending on what the delta looks like by the time we get there. See if we get any type of imbalances to lean on or anything like that. But kind of choppy, kind of slow so far. So really want to see one side push pretty hard. I'll tell you like my background concern about this really flat top that we've built out up here right above 30,000 is if this is kind of like the line in the sand for like what's going on like geopolitically, right? Like it doesn't quite work like that, but hear me out. So like tech doesn't want to go any higher than 30K unless they can take risk off the table for like whatever's happening in the Middle East, right? So every time we get up there, there's just not enough big buyers and there's too many sellers to like get through that area. My concern, because of that like perfect level, breakout level, very obvious level that has been created up here, is that we get some kind of a tweet or news drop that the that we're pulling out of the Middle East, that there's a peace deal, it's for real this time, and we get a god candle that basically just goes and rips right through that level without any type of tradability from it. I'd be really annoyed if that happens, but it's something I'm considering because it's just become such an obvious level that it might take like a big news, some type of like news to push it the rest of the way. I would just be disappointed if that happened because I would like to be a part of that breakout if possible. Some sellers stacking right here. Buyer's going to take it all. Another big order at 880 for 74, 73 contracts. Still waiting for like 920-ish. I really need to see buyers like prove themselves here. That they did good work to get some absorption down here at the lows, but they also didn't get a ton of volatility. Like it wasn't a very fast, aggressive push out of this area, which is why we have such a small opening range. So there's sometimes if like the opening range is like too small, this is like on the edge that like I'm less likely to put on a trade just because it means it's going to be like slow, choppy rotations. And if you've watched me trade on stream, you know that I don't like sitting in positions for very long. So buyer's getting after it though. I'd love to see 920. That would give me a little more confidence. We can get like over this little like where they put in a lower high in the sort of sell off this early this morning. Can pop over that, run a few stops, and then pull back. See if I can look for a place to get in. Trading right at the edge of value here. That's the little like tiny dashed line here at like 880. So I just have my volume profile set to like draw a dashed line so I don't have to be like guessing where the edge of value is. So above the previous day's high by just a little bit, above the session mid and above the opening range high. All bullish things. See if we can get extension to the upside here. And if it doesn't pull back, like I won't have a way to get in, which is okay. There's always some kind of pullback somewhere. But I'm still waiting for a 920 trigger. If we just like roll back, if we like get up here and can't get through this low volume node and just kind of like drift back down, I still really am not interested in anywhere until we get like back down to 750. So a little exhaustion from the buyers there at the high. At least just taking a short breather right at the edge of value. There we go. As I've mentioned on stream before, ScalperIQ will flag exhaustion when this like bigger, this kind of like extended buy move starts to cool off. Doesn't mean, sell the farm and go short when you see that. It's just kind of you want some other, type of marker or level to reinforce that you're seeing some cool off of this move. Otherwise, it can just be a brief cool off, consolidation, and then go higher. So, and that's the same for any type of definition as exhaustion, like a top that like shows exhaustion and rolls over and, goes down 500 points in the opposite direction looks almost exactly the same in terms of delta from an exhaustion print that prints, goes sideways, and then continues on in the same direction. So, you know, rank we rank exhaustion by like strength, like how big the move is and how rapidly it cools off. But uh, that's just like trying to give a little like juice a little bit of extra edge out of uh, that detection. But there's no guarantee that just because the market decided to cool off for a second that it's going to continue to cool off. So you did see like a brief cool off there, right? So like from that marker 890 down to, you know, it's like 10 or 15 points back. Like it's not really a sell move, but still flagging that things are cooling off a little bit. And I don't really have my I don't have my DOM scrolled anywhere to like watch price because I want to see 920 trade first and then start looking for a pullback. And they actually held like this little wick right here that they just wicked the previous day's high and held it. That might be a nice level to look at if we like come back. So I would like to see some imbalances to work off of, you know, like something like this. Let me see if I add any more levels to, there's other imbalances to work for. Yeah, so like all the imbalances are pretty much clustered down here. There's one right down here at 825, but I don't love I don't love that one. It's kind of like not very far from the point of control. I'm actually going to turn that one. Well, let me leave it on for now. Like shows a bunch of levels down here, but this is the closest one to price. Be a little bit of a deep pullback, just based on like that would be giving back almost this entire sort of breakout move, which might not be ideal for buyers. So I'm actually going to go look at that price just and put it on screen just because it's the closest to where we're trading right now. So I'm going to say, and they actually just, of course, they just put in a different one. I actually like this one better. Thank you, market. Appreciate that. So there's one at 65. So there's like a seller here. And so if you're like looking at this and sort of wondering why there's one showing here at 68 where it says -70, and then there's one up here that says -318, but like that one isn't flagged, even though this shows that it's bigger, is that we're looking for single trade imbalances. So if this one just happened to be accumulated by a bunch of really small orders, then or like traded back through multiple times, then we're not going to flag. ScalperIQ isn't going to flag that one. So just a little heads up there. So like this would be setting up pretty nicely. If buyers can get this back up the rest of the way, that would be helpful. If they can get back above this imbalance level that they just created here and get up to 920 and then pull back and then go, would like that. I'd be looking for 30,000 or at least like close to 30,000. I might take off just a little bit before then, just given that we've sold off every time we've gotten close to there, and with a 120 point opening range, I'm not super excited about how fast we're going to be trying to trade through 30,000, but buyer's doing all the first steps of what I need to try to get long. Currently rebidding this imbalance level. Now, if we start to hold above this, I would, like if they can't get it back below, call it 68-ish, then I might consider trying to take a trade on the trip up towards 920, but already pushing away from that, so might not give it to me. Let's see how they trade when they get there. Even though this 74 isn't showing as an imbalance, I'm kind of weighting it in my head that there's a bunch of absorption happening at that price as well. So then down to the same imbalance level there at 68. The main reason I want to see 920 is because when we first create these imbalances, the market has a tendency to sometimes just rotate around them. And like I run a very tight stop. So I don't want to get caught in this like sort of 15 point to 20 point rotation around where I would like to get in because it'll just stop me out multiple times. So I need to see that buyers are really interested in holding kind of that exact price. And right now they are not. But right back to it. So back above 68 again. Choppy, choppy, choppy. Also, if you're watching and you're new, feel free to hop in chat and say hi. There's a link in the description to our Discord. It's free to join if you'd like to come and hang out there, ask questions, talk to other Scalper IQ members. And if you're watching the live stream, hit the like button. It helps us for distribution and building this community. So we appreciate you guys hanging out. It's like one of my, I think I said it on stream on Friday. It's one of my least favorite things to do. It's like, oh, please, sir, may I have a like? Uh, but it's really like, that's just like the social media world that we live in. And YouTube pushes live streams that get likes and chat and interaction more frequently than it does the ones that don't. So that's me doing my job of saying, if you're watching, please like the video. So sellers did not hold, or sorry, buyers did not hold that where I wanted. And so this was kind of what I was saying, where I was like, I want to wait for 920. And even when I was like, well, maybe if they try and hold this, they just rotated around it multiple times. Like they got it above, and each time that they came back to it, sellers didn't have any problem getting price underneath this imbalance. And so I just wasn't interested at that point. And now we're like back into the opening range. We know that there was another imbalance that's weaker than the one that showed up here. This one was here just a minute ago, and that's at 27. But I don't really see anything like this is just kind of a mess of delta in here. So I'm gonna let this one do its thing and see if it can get back above 70 or so. Or it's just going to come right back to the point of control, and then we're going to be stuck in a world of chop again. Yeah, so like I said, on the lower side, not interested until we get back down into this like 40 to 60 range. Anything inside of here between like basically anything from like 860 to 760 is like just going to be a completely no fly zone for me. It's just too much traffic. It's like previous day's close, mid, Globex open, previous day's high, inside of value. Um, Sellers just kind of took that one in the face though. Really strong bounce off of 820. Still just chopping. Working their way back up to this imbalance level here at 65. That was some pretty strong selling. You see that like even as we've climbed back up, that the sell color is still kind of persisting, which just means that it's just lower volume and less aggressive buying than it was on the sell side on the way down. And try to climb their way back up above this level. Finding sellers right at it again, too. So typically I'm looking for like 3-to-1 risk to reward as like sort of a baseline for taking most trades. So if I'm risking 20 points, I'm looking for like 60. This is such a tight, like, we're just not moving around that much. Like, the whole opening range is 120 points. So, um, I'm being really patient with what setup I'm going to look at because I need to know there's enough oomph. Like, if price is going to be able to move enough in the direction, both the direction that I want to go and far enough for me to, take a shot. I might try to use a 15-point stop. It's just we're still moving around pretty quickly. It's just that we're not moving around very far. So we'll see how that plays out. But buyer's still supporting price pretty well. Just nothing really to trade off of for me here at the moment. There's buyers getting back above that level. Trying. That's looking better. I like that. Some big buyers coming in there. I liked what I saw from the buyers there. That push back into the opening range and then an aggressive push back up out of it. Gonna start lightly looking for a potential entry in this, like, call it 68 to 63-ish zone if they pull back and hold. Would ultimately then be using 920 as my target, and really only changing this up just as like the buyers really held pretty strong inside the opening range. So you're kind of building a little, you've built this low volume node here, so something else to lean on. But just kind of watching this area still. Just have yet to really like hold this 68 cleanly. Doing a bit better now. All right, wow. I might get stopped real fast there. That was fun. Um, Normal stop out. That was unfriendly. I basically got long and then they just dropped it right as I clicked the depth of market there. Held it enough times that I had to click it and now they're right back up to it again, but I'm going to give that a second. That's going to be a fun one to watch on replay. I think if I had clicked like half a second later, I wouldn't have even gotten filled. I probably would have put in a buy stop order because Motive Wave won't let you put a limit order above price. So, um, yeah, they just absolutely pulled the rug right as I clicked there. Rude, as we say. Held that time when I wasn't in it. That's not nice. That's not nice at all. Had one extra little pop left in it. And technically my stop would have been at 48. So I probably wouldn't have actually gotten stopped, but because it dropped so fast, I just flattened out because it was already like 2 points away from my stop. And I don't have bracket orders in. Um, it's just not something that I typically do because I want to be able to like move my stop. Like it might not be exactly 20 points, like I might have put it right below the mid, but when I'm trading three contracts and if it's just going to like literally drop, 15 to 18 points instantaneously off of my entry, I'm just going to flatten out. I'm already assuming that's a bad entry and I don't want to be a part of whatever else happens after that. So that's just trading. It's a normal stop. So I didn't get slippage or anything else nasty on top of it. But yes, as one of you said in the Discord, that was harsh. Happy Monday to me. Still looking at the same level. And those are the kind of things that when they happen, like it's just a part of trading. That's why you like, if you look at your P&L across a given like week, or about what you make on a good day or about what you lose on a bad day or whatever it might be, like you just have to know that like there's going to be some times that like you get slippage, you get something like that where you click and immediately price goes directly against you. Those are just things that are going to happen, and you have to know your own tendencies. Like those type of things used to like really put me on tilt. Like I'd get so annoyed at like, oh my gosh, like that was actually a good entry and just like slightly off on my timing. Uh, and then I'd like hop right back in, you know, and that's not, in my opinion, not prudent behavior. So back to this level again. I'm gonna watch, see if we can hold above again. Man, nope. So this level, even though it's an imbalance, the market is not really treating it as something that it cares about that price very much. So like you're just like if you can see it since it's printed, we haven't had any like sort of like distinct reactions to it. So I'm actually just gonna like pull this one off. I think it's one of the weaker ones. So I'm just gonna pull it off my chart so I stop looking at it and assume that the market isn't gonna use that as a good area of support. So I feel justified in that even if I had had a better entry, I'd be getting stopped again right now. So just ultimately price kind of chopping around up here. They move the point of control just barely up here, but it's kind of like a double distribution between this and 800 right now. I always find it very I always found it very refreshing when I was like learning to trade futures and following along with the person that I learned to trade futures from. And it's not like I wanted to see him lose money, never, obviously, but like there was something like very validating about watching him like get stopped out in some stupid way, or like, just these like quick like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the market did that in like, 5 seconds to my position. But um yeah, I'm happy that I'm able to carry on the tradition to other people who are watching. And if you're new and you're like, oh my gosh, that happens to me, you're right. It happens to all of us. And it's equally as frustrating every single time. I mean, that's also another reason that like I trade micros. Two reasons in there. One, obviously, like much lower risk than the mini contracts. but also the liquidity on the micros is better. Like there's just more contracts available on the micro contract. And so, your chance for slippage on some really dumb move like that is just a lot lower. You just have a better chance of like getting back out, while on the NASDAQ, it can be so thin that if I was trading three contracts, like I might have gotten wicked out there and also taken slippage, which would have been really annoying. So, but this is gross. This is like really gross price action. You see, I got like the tiniest bit of slippage there. It's like 61, 61.50 in terms of down points. So I think at this point, my previous thesis uh that I should have stuck to, which is waiting for 920 to trade first. But you're just seeing these like that same move that stopped me out. Like you're just seeing these like very quick um oh, and my data feed actually just froze. That's exciting. Let me see if it comes back. Whoa. Okay, came back. Don't know. That doesn't that doesn't help my confidence for taking trades either. So, but you're just seeing these like really it's like we're not trading a big range, but we're trading 15 to 20 point moves like almost instantly in one direction or another. Like the liquidity is actually really not very good. Like there's big offers for sale. You have some larger participants, but it's like sort of everything in between is like really nasty. So, and this is like exactly what I said about like a very narrow opening range is it just sort of lends itself to chop and violence. And I saw one of you say that watching that happen to me makes you want to trade less today. Well, that might be a good thing. I may also not put on another trade either. If we can't get up to 920 and we just start, we're just rotating around the previous day's high. So it's like it's not bearish, I would say, but like buyers aren't showing very much initiation above 880. That might be my record for personal fastest stop out ever. You guys got to witness it here. Have a recording of it. So just in case I want to make also the shortest short form recap video today, it'll be like here's where I clicked the DOM and here's where I exited the market zero point 0.3 seconds later. Also, I mentioned I think last Friday that the account that I'm trading the three contracts in instead of one contract is an eval. So big buyer there at 74, but it's just been a lot of like rotations with larger orders in this area. So I'm gonna let them sort out what they want to do here. But I'm trading I've tried to size up multiple times through my career. Like, I don't sit here and pretend to be like the world's most amazing day trader. I'm a much better developer than I am trader. So, always still like learning and improving from like the intraday like execution and trading standpoint. Um, and so I'm doing this in an evaluation account from Lucid so that if I make errors or it doesn't work, like pretty overall low risk. And I still think like people have different. I know a lot of people like to like YOLO eval accounts. I've tried it before. I've actually never been successful YOLOing it, which probably says something. But I try to treat my evaluation accounts. I try to just like anytime I'm actually like putting positions on, whether it's in a personal account, an eval account, a funded account, whatever it might be, I just try to trade the same because otherwise I find myself accidentally building bad habits. Um, and so, arguments can be made about like whether that's smart or whether you waste time in an eval. I, it depends on what your goals are. If your goal is to make money, but you're still in an evaluation phase, like I would argue that you still need more time to kind of sort out your own trading strategy and finding out if you're profitable before you start to like focus on using it as consistent income. I just wish that prop accounts had been available in the way that they are now when I first started. Could have saved myself an enormous amount of pain and money. Not quite old enough to be able to be like, you kids don't know, but also, man, this is really, and I keep getting these little data feed blips too, which is not helpful. You can see my depth of market is frozen. I'll give it a second to come back. And it's just like coming back violently. It's terrific. I agree. 25K accounts are underrated. I think it makes you trade, at least for me, makes me trade better, makes me be more discerning about the positions that I take. And that's why when I was like, let me do a 50K account, that's why I was like sizing up as well, because then I think it makes the distance between like the stop loss and the profit like make a lot more sense. I think it would just take me longer than I care to try to be in an eval account on a 50K trading one MNQ. So but yeah, I've actually had much more success passing evals for 25K accounts than I have for 50. I'm also a big fan of Lucid. We don't like we're not sponsored by any prop firms, including Lucid, at least at this point. But um, I've had very good success with them. I know a lot of other people have had success with them. Um, so I also love that it's like one fee and as much time as you need to pass the account. I know a lot of people are fans of like how cheap Apex can be, and Apex is cheap. They also give you a lot of options between different types of drawdown, which will make it more or less expensive. But I think that they gamify trading, in my opinion, they gamify trading too much in the eval period as a way for them to make money. I think it's disingenuous to try to put a 1 month limit on people passing accounts. I think it makes people gamble. And then people get into gambling tendencies and then they pay for a funded account and then they blow up the funded account because they trade it the same way they did for the eval, which told them to sort of like game the system. So I don't think in trading you should ever be like, I need to make $2,000 in a month or whatever your number is. I think it will change how you trade. It'll change your sort of like mental exercise. And I just I have like personal personal not vendetta, but like personal issues with trading companies, these prop companies that like put time limits on things and sort of like try to like encourage people to gamble because it's just better for their bottom line and it's not actually better for new traders who I think get suckered into paying for an extra number of evals and spend money that granted is still less than if they were probably trying to learn to trade in a regular market, but ultimately uh take your time, you know, get a 25K account, get one that doesn't have a monthly renewing subscription, trade one MNQ or one MES, learn, you know, there's plenty of time. I've been trading for I've been actively trading futures since 2021, I think. 5 years, 4 or 5 years. And I'm just now still kind of going through the exercise of learning to size up. So you're not late to the game. You're not late at all. So give yourself time, give yourself space. This is terrible price action in case my instantaneous stop out didn't have anything to say about it, but this is terrible price action. Back into the opening range again. So choppy, 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 choppy. Best trades were actually pre-opening range. Was trading off of some of these imbalances down here, but pre-opening range is a hard rule for me. Hard rule to not do that. Every time I do it, it blows up in my face. So I just don't do it anymore. You guys see me do it on stream, you can reprimand me in chat. They should be able to make it so that like you guys can react like in chat and then like emojis show up on my execution screen so that I can like be like, "Oh yeah, right. I don't trade pre-opening range." There's a bunch of angry emojis and finger pointing showing up here. It would make things much more entertaining. Speaking of gamifying things. All right, as we're pulling back, I'm going to scroll back down to where we saw actual absorption down here at like 760. If they happen to get it there, it's like it's like a zone, right? You see multiple imbalances down here. So it's like 760 to 740. So it's a pretty wide range. You can see multiple big orders that executed down here earlier this morning. But this is like the first place that to the downside that I'm interested in trading. Uh, we're over 100 points away from 920. So I don't think that breakout and retest is going to be happening, at least not while I'm still on stream. You know, I'll be here for probably like another 30-ish minutes. So if we get an interaction down here at 760, I might try to trade a bounce for that. And I think we could get it back up to, I think that's worth 60 points if we can get down there. But if we don't, I'm probably just gonna take my super duper fast losing trade and go home. They like to say, you know, people like to say, I like to know if I'm wrong fast. Well, I knew real fast. Seller's getting real aggressive here. Edge of value is 80. First imbalance level is 60. I'm going to actually reduce my imbalance levels so that I can see which one is the strongest. So the strongest one is there, and the other one is at 60. So I'm actually just going to leave the one up at I'm going to leave the 60 up as a reference point. This is the second Monday in a row that I've streamed, and the price action has been god awful. I think last Monday was the rally that like just didn't pull back. So like I can't say that that price action is like terrible in the sense of like, you know, I think that this type of chop like is way easier to lose money in than like a trend up, in one direction or the other. Uh, but I also like couldn't with how I trade, which is very like sort of like mean reversion, even if I'm like needing a mean reversion to sort of like get into a trend. And there was just like no mean reverting happening. It was just like up 10-point pullback, up more, 5-point pullback, up more. And so that also wasn't fun to sort of sit here and just like watch it go. Uh, but Mondays be Monday in. They're trying to hold in this zone here. I like 760 better, and we're only 30 to 40 points away from it right here. So gonna wait for my better price. I mentioned on Friday, and we made some progress over the weekend, but we're gonna have a new YouTube series out probably later this week that we're gonna call Rewind the Tape. And so we'll take one trade from the week that I made here on a live stream and walk through it in more detail about why it worked or why it didn't, or some of the things that I still kind of try to like call out live here when I'm live trading, but sometimes it's like a little more convoluted because I'm both trying to get into position and explain to you guys why I'm trying to get into position or that. So it'll just be like a kind of like a replay of the depth of market, where we saw buying, where we saw selling, where we saw imbalances, what else was kind of going on at that time, and just kind of a more thorough breakdown. They'll be like probably like I don't know 9 to 11 minutes long, so not like hours of breakdown, just a little more in depth, similar to what you see here on the live stream. But um, I'm excited to share that with you guys. I think it will be really interesting, being able to like show some of the nuances that happen on the depth of market when you slow things down. So be on the lookout for that. We'll post it in the Discord when the first one goes live. So this imbalance right here at 60 is at the top of my depth of market here, and then the next one that's at 40 is just off from here, which is this down here. See a big buyer waiting at 740, not as much size waiting in these areas. So I'm going to take the hint and I'm going to watch 40. Sellers are currently selling just about every little micro bounce in this down move right now. So buyers don't have a good handle on it at the moment. Of course, just as I say that, they're gonna like push it back, but they're still selling pops. So we did break the opening range high first during the session, and like I've talked about this before, but statistically speaking, that gives buyers a little bit of an edge. So like whichever side of the opening range is pierced first tends to be more like the direction of the day. It's not like the most uh, astonishing fact, right? Like if we're already trading up near the highs and we break the opening range high, it makes sense that most of the time we go higher from there. Same thing in the opposite direction for lower. So very much have sellers above 800. I'm like watching this like 805 area has gotten rejected twice now. It's either having a hard time holding it above 800. Gain a little bit further that time, and then right back down to 800. So sellers trying to defend this like 810 area. Yep, still putting defense on there. Gonna try to push there. Yeah. I think it's like a potential short here with like a stop above 820, but I'm not gonna put it on here at the basically what is like the bottom of this other distribution area. It's just like not like I see sellers stepping in above 800 and like it's a possible short down to like 760-ish, but I don't want to I don't want to put risk on in this particular location. It's just like right in the middle of so much traffic. So I see it. I just one of my kind of rules is if I want to get long somewhere, then I shouldn't be short on the way to that location. So because like, while I would love to execute like, around 60 or around 40, we also got to 70 and then just turned on a dime, right? So I don't want to be I don't want to be in position from a short side, then almost get to my take profit where I kind of wanted to be long and then end up getting stopped out because it bounced a little early from where my long would be. So I'd rather just wait for I'd rather just wait for the long. But I can both wait for the long and say that sellers are trying to hold this under 815 or so. And if buyers can't get it back up above 820 here soon, I think you're going to see lower. They're really, really tempting me with a short above this, around this like right where price is right now, like 810-ish area, but not not today, Satan. And I would have been stopped right there anyway, so I'm justified in saying I'm not taking positions in this area. It's just far too choppy. And if you're new and you happen to be trading a session like this and you're getting whipped around or getting stopped out a bunch, it's the only difference between you and an experienced trader is that the experienced trader just like isn't touching this. So that's it. You're not actually doing anything wrong in the sense of like where your orders are. Uh, like I really think that one of the most important and underrated things about trading is not just knowing where you should be like buying or, initiating, like actually executing, but also knowing where you should not be executing, right? And I think that second one is a lot harder to learn and um, but it is equally as important because sure, you might get a move off of the point of control or out of value every once in a while. And, if you watch the stream long enough, you'll definitely see me take a position inside of value. But, you really gotta just kind of lean into the things that increase your odds, and trading inside of a bunch of chop is not increasing your odds. So those sellers that were passive there for a bit above 800 are becoming a bit less passive now, but right back to 800. Market may also be a bit in a holding pattern. There's been tons of rumors about whether the US is going to wrap up their activity in the Middle East. And that may be the thing that the market wants sorted out. You just don't have enough large participants wanting to put on risk until that becomes a bit more apparent. I see a few of you chatting in the Discord just about the benefits of a 25K account with $1,000 drawdown versus other ones. And I agree. I also very much agree about the uh, don't copy trade them all. That's like a huge deal. Like it's just like the thing that is like, all over prop firm accounts. You can buy 10 accounts and copy trade them. And you're right, you can, but you're you can't really like one, you can't really like increase size from there because your leverage is determined by the individual account. So like, and copy trading also has a lot of errors. It is not something that works consistently all the time. And I know even experienced traders who accidentally blow accounts because the platform says that they flattened and it didn't flatten them and they left a position on. I personally think that copy trading is just something pushed by prop firms to try to continue to get traders to over leverage. Like the prop firms are not your friends. They are they're a business model that works because people blow accounts all the time, right? They don't want to pay traders out. I don't care how responsible or good the prop firm is. Their goal is to make money, and they make money by you blowing up. So, doesn't it make a lot of sense for them to be like, well, you can copy trade 10 accounts? Great. So if you blow one, then you blow 10, and then they get you to to buy another 10 accounts. So you don't have to be you don't have to be in a hurry, right? Getting closer to this execution area that I'm interested in. First stop is around 60-ish. See how price reacts there. And like a short over 800, as I was kind of talking about, like was, a trade that I would be 30 points in the money on, but like I would have still had to risk probably up to 820, just like a 20-point stop. So I'm if I had taken that position, then I'm like banking on that the 760 imbalance doesn't hold and that the 740 imbalance where I want to be taking profit does hold and that it doesn't hold anything else that tried to hold early in the morning. We saw a lot of big buyers defending down in this area. So that was less about that was one of a more like I see sellers here and this looks like a short and I don't think I can get enough points out of it, which is why I'm not going to get in it. See, and if I was short at 800, I would be back to break even again. So that's my like kind of my justification there in terms of like not shorting. I don't want to short into an area where I think there's going to be like an area where I think there's going to be a bunch of buyers. I'd rather be like short and my target is before there's a bunch of buyers, right? So like I don't have to deal with like being short and hoping that they get through 60 and then they get through 50 and then they get through 40. All places that buyers have stepped in this morning. I want to have the clearest runway that I can for my take profits. That's why I think that the other direction is a lot clearer. You have like the 800, which that looks like they very much want to be trading around. And so if we can get 60 points away from there and have a nice setup, then I'm hoping for like a 60-point trip back up to 800 if the market is so willing. Held right in front of that 60 imbalance, but didn't even give me a look at it. Me one of those, just going to be one of those sessions. So if I'd been short at 800, I would now be underwater. My stop would be at 20, which looks like they want to try to go get. So all because I would have only been 35 points in the money, so I would have been just a barely over halfway to target. So location, location, location. While this is doing this, let me see if I can show you guys the new depth of market that I'm been currently working on. I don't know that this is going to be something that we like release to everyone, but it might be something that we feature on stream. So let's see. All right, so that's just overlaying on top of the motive wave DOM. So I'll leave it up for just a minute so you guys can take a look. But let me also hide the tape for now, so we just have just a DOM. So This one's actually set to auto scroll right now because I'm not using it to trade. So I still think that this way of auto scrolling on a DOM is way better than how a lot of platforms do it. Not to like toot my own horn, as they say, but basically, as it gets within a certain number of points of the edge of like whatever range you're looking at, it'll scroll enough to keep that same buffer, and then it will pause. And so I still wouldn't trade on this, like in terms of like putting orders in while it's doing that, because I don't want to misclick. Like I'll wait for an area to see, but um, I think that this way of illustrating the depth of market actually is easier to see size and uh, just to be able to read what's happening on the depth of market a little bit better. The trick is like I don't know that I want to try to like I haven't looked into the coding for like routing orders from this custom depth of market, which lives outside of Motive Wave, but is like piggybacking on the Motive Wave data feed. But I don't know if I want to like round trip myself trying to like take orders on it and send it through. But I will show you something that's kind of cool. So like um, if I scroll, then we're basically it's locked now. And I can actually highlight different rows to like show you guys and be like, this is kind of the area that I'm looking at for sellers to hold or whatever it might be. So you'll see some of this when we have our rewind the tape section. And we release that video content later this week. So you'll be able to um, see what that looks like. So then I can just double click to get rid of the highlighted area. You're literally trading right at the point of control. So 800 is proving to both be resistance and a magnet at the same time. So I'll let this go back to auto scrolling. You'll see how it kind of adapts to where price is. Motive Wave has a similar feature, but it won't scroll like that. It'll just like once it price gets too close to an edge or goes off your DOM, it'll like just jump to recenter it. It's super, super jarring to me and makes it feel like I miss kind of like what the actual like movement of the depth of market is. Like I can't, if I'm just like watching and suddenly it jumps and now like all the price levels that I was looking at are something different, is just really disorienting to me. So when I'm executing, even if I was executing on this custom DOM, I would be like basically freezing it so that it can't auto scroll so I don't misclick where my order is. Uh, but I do like this, like when it pushes, it'll push the price ladder up like it's doing right now. If it goes down, it'll push the price ladder down. So Ninja Trader, if you're watching, give me a DOM that operates like this. You'll have a very happy customer. Oh, you use the footprint over the depth of market? It's not really a bad idea, to be honest. I've also seen your screen setup is really sweet. Um, I think you have 4 monitors up, one with just a footprint on, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's really, really nice. I don't have quite enough screen real estate for that. I have like the screen that you guys are see me trading on here, which is a 27-inch monitor, and then I have another 27-inch monitor to my right with all of my streaming stuff, which is vertical. But yeah, a footprint is a totally viable way to watch instead of watching the depth of market, which can be really, really noisy. Um, I'm slightly biased towards depth of market. I think the thing that I miss on a footprint chart is being able to like watch price like react to a level. Like if it's like, say it's like, we're not going to hold anything as I'm pointing at it, but like, say it's like 80 or 89 or whatever, and it's like you hit it and then immediately pop up to 97. Like that to me shows like that there's like reactive buyers there, and so the footprint will show you like some of that aggression, but I think it starts to get muddied through a candle. So some of it's just like watching how the depth of market is actually moving. But yeah, a footprint is like a way less probably stressful way to be watching. And I only have this like watching just to demo for you guys, but I actually, as you've seen, keep it scrolled to where I want to be executing so I don't actually have to watch, what is something that's a little anxiety inducing, like trade over and over. All right, so 800 or above 800 just failed again. I'm going to turn this custom DOM off so we can go back to watching my execution screen. Right. Still going to see if 60 hits here in like the next like 15 or 20 minutes. That'll be like, that's kind of my last trade idea here for this. If they just get through it and sweep everything, I'm probably just going to walk away. So it's like a few points of reference for me. There's 60, there's 50, and there's 40. So they're all like spread 10 points away. So kind of looking at this 50 area, which is up on screen where we have some absorption from this morning. It's funny. I have this depth of market that's like sitting up. It's just like turned off so that you guys can't see it. And I'm actually going to minimize it because it's giving. I was testing it. Like I only got it live at the end of session on Friday where it was actually like kind of working. It's very much in an early iteration. So I'm sure there's bugs in it that I haven't discovered yet, but um, it's like popping off over on my screen. I was just watching it this session, and yeah, it's doing the thing that I communicate to you guys as to why I don't keep it up the whole time and just have it scrolled to where like I want to execute, because it's just anxiety inducing. I don't need any extra of that. So I want to see, I think how I'm going to try to play this if it comes down is I want to see it get under 50. I want to see it get through 40, and then I want to see it get back above and hold above 50, and then my stop would be 30, would be below this other imbalance. So kind of a sequence that I'd be looking for there. So it's first getting below 40, then back above 50. It'll probably ping pong, I would guess, kind of ping pong between 50 and 60. And at that point, I would try to probably get long on one of those like pongs or pings back down to 50. And then using this other big imbalance here, if they've already held it once. If they sweep through everything and they get the low, I'm a little less excited about that, but would still be interested in looking at a rebid of 50 and a hold in that same way, but would prefer it like through 40, lose momentum, get back above 60, back to 50, and then get long. So, and like, I hope I don't have to reiterate this too often, but I'm walking through my own process. Like, you guys are watching me literally live trade. Like, this isn't ever going to be a calls type room where I'm like, all right, everybody, time to pile into 760, right? Like, we're not a signal service. We make tools. I'm here to show how I use those tools in a live environment. And because also like it may do some things down in here as it like maybe it cuts through all these levels, and then I'm like, I don't think I actually want to get into that. That's the discretionary part. And so if I'm saying I'm interested in these few things happening and then I might get long, you know, manage your own risk, manage your own position, take your own read, right? Wouldn't you have all had a lot of fun taking the the 5 second stop out that I took earlier? So um, if you're taking a similar position to me because you have a similar read, awesome. That's great. Um, but the stream is also 10 or 15 seconds behind live. So, and my trades for my executions are usually quite fast. So, you know, please don't take a position just because I'm taking a position. Highly, highly discourage that. So right now getting the first part of what I wanted, which was to trade back below 60, but I want to see the larger imbalance at 40 trade, and I want my order closer to there because I want to be able to risk 20 points, and I want to try to be able to get 60. So hopefully you can kind of see and listen about like how I'm talking in terms of like why I want to take positions in a certain area, right? Like there's order flow to weigh, there's higher time frame, there's intraday volume profile, there's delta, there's a lot of different things going on. And one of the ones that I think people don't always weigh is where am I going to get, where's my stop going to be, and where am I going to try to get out? So, uh I think like I prefer getting in closer to 50 because 810 has been an area that sellers have defended a few times. So if I get long at 760 and I want 60 points, I'm asking them to get to the very top end of this sort of defense range. So to me, 750 or even just a little below 750 is a better entry than 760 for that reason. Do you really use hotkeys for your entries? I tried that many years ago when I was trading small cap like bio runner stocks. Was not successful in case that was not apparent, but I have to be like slow if you give me a keyboard that is gonna like allow me to like punch in and out of trades, that is I don't know if anybody's ever seen the I'll put it in the Discord because I don't think I can send gifs to the I don't think I can send gifts to the actual to YouTube, but I'll put it in the Discord, which is like a monkey with machine gun shooting everywhere. I'm pretty sure it's AI, but that would be me with hotkeys. There was like a stream that I was watching the other day, and like maybe you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or I'm crazy, but they were talking about like using stop limit orders, which I've never really used. I'm just like I'm gonna use a limit order, but was somehow saying or trying to communicate that a stop limit order was different than a limit order in terms of getting a better price. And I was like, well, like not really, right? Like your limit is technically still the same. Like your trigger is from the stop, but you're still going to get like if your like stop limit is, stop at 49 and buy 45, there's no difference in terms of, other than like speed of execution if like you think it's going to like pop 49 and come right back to 45, but you're not actually risking. Yes. It's so annoying that you can't share pictures or anything inside a YouTube chat. That's a very sexy keyboard. Very nice for execution. I aesthetic wise, I very much appreciate that, and it would make me want to touch it, which would also probably be um would be dangerous and bad for me. So, but very nice, clean setup. Love it. Kind of getting down into this area again. Going to be very close to being onto my screen for the depth of market. Needs to get below 50. So this is the area that I want to see buyers try to hold, but still want to see them test this 740 first and taking way too long to do this. Just getting deeper and deeper into the morning session, starting to approach lunchtime. All right, they just tagged 50. See if they can tag 40. Also, I'll mention one more time, if you are watching the stream, give us a like. If you're not subscribed, feel free to do so. We are going to try to keep up Monday, Wednesday, Friday, though. If Mondays keep treating me this way, I might just say Mondays no more. Um, but we'll give it a month or two to sort out whether all Mondays suck or just the ones that I've traded so far on live. But yeah, we've had good feedback that the live has been helpful to watch how to use Scalper IQ live and just some of my process as I'm trading. So we'll continue to do that. So subscribe, you'll get notifications, and come join the Discord if you're more curious or want to say hi. We have a nice, open, friendly community. So I will say that in the past, this like I would have probably already tried to be getting long because I hadn't like sequenced out a trade. Like I want to see 40 trade first. I want to see 40 trade first and then get back above this stuff. So if I get in now, I'm one sequence early in what I want to see. Gonna be almost onto my screen here. So I want to see them trade below 40. I want to glance at a higher time frame while it's trading here. So not super anything down here on a higher time frame. First thing I would look at would be like this little like top here, but that's all the way down at 650, which is too far away for where I'm going to be trading on this stream. Still getting some signs down here that, sellers are having a hard time kind of punching this through, but also not seeing like a ton of reactivity from the buyers. So they're down to that price. Didn't quite get to 40. I think they actually tagged it. It was like maybe 40, and so we'll call that, I'm going to call that they touched it at least. So let's see what they do next. Really, really tricky session to trade. Just small range and Buyer's kind of camped out in front of 50 right now, but not a ton of initiation, just kind of supporting price there. So they've given me most of what I wanted for the sequence. I would have preferred they swept 740, but it's close enough. I'm not going to get too hung up on like a tick. Um, and then we've now gotten it back above 50, and we've gotten to 60, and now I'm just waiting for a pullback to see if we'll hold 50 in this area. Stop will be 20 points. So if I'm like 48, stop will be like 28 or so. Just taking too long. Just haven't given me a look so far since they got it back above 50. Just always got to fight that impulse that it's going to go without you. At least I do. But and I think it was on the stream on Friday that I missed what was actually a really nice short trade near the high of day. And I had an offer in and missed my fill by like a tick or two. Uh and I just let it go. Just like just call it a I don't know, call it a casualty. Just bouncing right in front of where, or like trying to hold right in front of where I want to get in, which is great, but I need it a little bit lower before I actually get in. Ah, that might have been it right there. But you'll see me just patiently wait for it to come back. But if it gets back above, like if it does this and gets back above 800 before pulling back, that's just going to be it for me today. Because I would have already like probably moved stop to break even if I'm long at 60 and it gets above 800. So if it goes on this move without me, then just gonna call it. I mean, it's a super clean hold at the moment, right above 50, but it just didn't even trade 50. It was trading like 54, and I know that seems uh like really, I don't know, stubborn, exact, um, to be like, well, it held 50 and it's the Nasdaq and it held 4 points above, but like I just I have to follow my own like sort of like execution rules, and it didn't give me a look at 50 to buy it, so train may have left the station without me. Saw the new Spider-Man over the weekend. It was really good, actually. I feel like I always go into those like type of like Marvel movies. Like I had a good friend or have a good friend in New York that works in filmmaking, and like he just like won't go watch films like that because he's just like they're so predictable and I know exactly what's going to happen. And it's the same script and I'm like, "You're right." But it's like junk food, right? Like I know exactly what I'm going to get. I know there's going to be some cool explosions, some great visual effects, some silly corny jokes. But I will say that kind of all jokes aside, the movie itself was actually pretty well done and quite entertaining, even by my own low standards of um, Marvel films. And that's gonna be basically to 800. So I think that's gonna be it for me, guys. It's just like it's so slow, and uh, I got most of the sequence that I wanted to get long down here, and it just didn't trade. Like I wanted to see it go back through 50 and hold this in balance so I could actually get into position, and it gave me 54, which is just, um, then my stop. Like just to reiterate as to why I wouldn't take that is like, let's say I got in at 755, then my 20-point stop is now at 35, which is like just barely below this imbalance level that I wanted to lean against for protection. And so my 5 points that I just paid up to try to get into this position is now moving my stop up accordingly as well. And it's then also making my target have to be at 825, which is going to make them take out these pivot highs, which they very well might do here. But just kind of like saying that's why I won't pay up for price. Um, so I think we're going to wrap up here. Thanks everybody for joining. If you're new to watching the stream, hit the like and subscribe button. There's a link in the description to our Discord. Feel free to come and join and say hi. We'll be back again on Wednesday at the same time at 8:30. So until then, everybody trade safe. Good luck in this very, very choppy session.